Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my WWE Raw review for this Monday, March the 5th, 2018, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, from the Bradley Center for the last time, because apparently Milwaukee's getting a new arena. You know, just like what happened to the Joe and the Palace here in Detroit, we got a new arena. Speaking of new arena, I'll be there next week. We'll talk about that in a bit. First things first, with a very intriguing Raw last week, Raw needs some momentum as they head down that road to WrestleMania. And I thought tonight's Raw was decent tonight. You had some good segments, a couple matches from Mania announced. Maybe one other match from Mania could be where it was teased but not officially announced. Plus, we found out who else is going in the WWE Hall of Fame. We had a proper statement, or somewhat of a statement, made by the advocate of the Universal Champion in response to Roman Reigns' scathing promo last week. And whether or not we're going to see Lesnar anytime soon, right before Mania. So, before we get to further comments about Raw, there was announcements made about WWE today. Two global events are happening. There was, I think I kind of addressed this. There was rumors, now it's official, that WWE's putting on a big stadium show in Australia in October. And they're saying that more details for that will follow. There's rumors about a mixed tag match, a match we thought we were going to see at Mania, with The Rock replacing a certain GM to team up with Rousey against Triple H and Stephanie. Who knows if that match will actually happen. And they also announced Saudi Arabia will get a big event on April 27th, being yes, this is correct, a 50-man Royal Rumble, calling it the greatest Royal Rumble. They're saying details about broadcasting will be determined, but will the network actually air this? If they're too poor to not air Starrcade Live from North Carolina last fall, who thinks they're going to air this live on the network? We shall see. But what happens there? So we got two big global shows, and we are inducted to the Hall of Fame. I'll save that for later. Let's just get the wall. Mention a mixed tag. There's been seeds planted for a mixed tag involving Kurt Angle replacing The Rock with Ronda Rousey against Triple H and Stephanie. That seed's been planted ever since Elimination Chamber. When, Ronda was having a contract signing, she put Triple H to a table. We thought all's well that ends well during the apology segment to end Raw last week. Kind of a weird way to end Raw last week in many people's eyes. Which ended with Triple H cheap-shotting Kurt Angle. And Angle's face doing it, looking back on Angle's face during it was priceless. He's like, BAM! So tonight, Kurt Angle addressed that cheap shot. And what happened? Especially not just stemming from that, but also stemming way back in Survivor Series, when there was reports about these two facing off at Mania after Triple H pedigreed Angle in the middle of the match to get him and Strowman the victory. In that match, that was not good for the full-timers. That was great to the part-timers. So as Angle wanted a piece of Triple H, I call this, Stephanie's music would hit. It should say Triple H was not there yet. Or was he? So she was laying down the law to Angle, saying that, hey, you have kids, including a 1-year-old. Your career ain't paying the bills. Your accomplishments ain't paying the bills. You have alimony. You have 2 wives. Because we know who. But it'll be interesting to see, because Jeff Jarrett's going to the Hall of Fame. What if Karen shows up? And Angle's there too. Maybe they're still friendly, but they'll be like. Anywho, she's saying that you don't want to risk your health for them. You need to keep this job of GM. Blah, 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 blah. You need this job. You know what I mean? And you almost got rid of that job by making some dumb moves, especially with almost ruining the contract signing of Ronda Rousey with your little comments about us. You got to pay with the system. And then as Stephanie Angle was flapping, here comes Ronda Rousey. Still using bad reputation. Must be a full-time thing. So Rousey she had a little quietness to her, like the Elimination Chamber promo, because I loved the promo last week on Raw, much better than a promo at Chamber. She had that same kind of speaking style, but she perfected it a little better. She was talking about bossy GMs, and she's there with the bossy people all her life, and all that stuff, a brilliant angle, brilliant her. Instead, he's like, when you sign a dotted line for WWE, Wanda, you don't just work for the company, you work for me. And not just that, you work for the brand that I'm the commissioner of. And you signed that contract. And Wanda was like, well, guess what? That contract has got me to choose my opponent. I can choose my opponent at Mania. That's the reason why I came to fulfill a dream to be at WrestleMania. And I can choose my opponent according to the contract. Of course, Stephanie says can't include any champions. That was already stated in the Elimination Chamber. A lot of people think she would get an automatic title match, but she has to earn it first. And it has to be an active roster member. So Wanda chose Stephanie. She had a little drum roll, but she spoke over that drum roll. Probably don't know she was probably going to do Stephanie. That would lead Triple Reigns to come out saying, no, Angle. You got to take control here. You're the GM. You make the matches. You're here to the commissioner, but you make the rules. Prevent this from happening. Prevent Rousey from challenging Stephanie. She's an executive. She's a commissioner. She's not an active roster member. Blah, 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 blah. But Angle's like, yes, Stephanie is a contracted commissioner and a contracted executive. But she has a second contract. An active roster contract. And so do you, Triple H. I want a piece of you for what happened at Mania. Years past. But more importantly, what happened at Survivor Series. And what happened last week as well. So, he made the match official. It will be Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle taking on Triple H and Stephanie. Hopefully the match is worth the hype. Because we did have a mixed tag match at last year's Mania. Cena and Nikki Bella against Miz and Maurice. The hype was great. The segments were great, especially the Total Bella BS segments for Miz and Maurice. But the match itself was not good. It was just a burial from Cena and Nikki that lead to the proposal. And the ratings still hasn't happened yet. I know ratings take time, you know. My cousin got engaged about a year ago, and her wedding's not till June. But still, just not married yet, Nikki and Cena. Almost a year since the proposal. So, they hope this mixed tag match is great, and Angle and Triple H probably to carry the match. But Rousey got into the face of Stephanie after Triple H tried to go for another cheap shot on Angle, but Angle saw it coming. We had a big brawl. These two were brawling, and Stephanie got a sub of Rousey before she got labeled kind of a Samoan drop finisher from Rousey. Well, she had her in the F5 position. And then she would deliver a big little spin move to Stephanie from that position. And Angle would put Triple H in the ankle lock, and they would stand tall to end the segment. So, we're going to see a lot more of this because they already announced today that Rousey will be at every Raw leading up to Mania, including next week in Detroit. I'll be there. So, after that, we're on to our next scenario, our first match of the night, a rematch from Elimination Chamber. As Asuka would take on Nia Jax. Nia, who has got a lot to prove, is somewhat mathematically out of Mania at this time. Out of a title match, despite the fact that Asuka still hasn't chosen a champion yet. Although people say she already chose Asuka, has chosen Alexa, she hasn't verbally said it yet. So it might see no words. But when it comes to these two, they had a great match in the Chamber pay-per-view. And once again, they had a good match. Maybe not on par on the Chamber match, but it was still pretty good. Some good action here, especially one spot where, Nia was going for a helicopter, raises edge thing. She had Asuka in the raises edge position and spinning around into an inverted base buster. That was cool. They call her the Irresistible Force now, because you see in her entrance graphic. So Irresistible Force got a hold of Asuka yet again. Using her might, pounding on the outside, showing that viciousness that she showed at the Chamber match, especially after she lost with that vicious barricade spot. They liked the Chamber match despite the onslaught of offense delivered by the big, strong Nia Jax. Asuka delivered her big striking moves. It would hurt Asuka into an armbar despite many attempts to get out of it. Nia held on for all she can. She held on to that. She was in that hold a very long time. I'll give her credit for that. She tried to get out of it, and Asuka tried not to break it. And she could not break it, and did not break it. And Asuka made Nia tap out once again to a submission. So Asuka got the best of Nia yet again, and Nia was left literally in tears. Not only is she out of Mania for now, she could have beat Asuka again. She was quiet backstage and was consulted and consoled somewhat by her bestie, Alexa Bliss, with a newly quick and miss heel turn, Mickie James, with no logic. Anyway, what's the read for you? They always does things with no explanation. Like here, Mickie James heel turn. Why? Who cares? Logic. So, as Nia was crying a little bit later on, Alexa was like, "Come on, Nia, don't give up." She was trying to be consoling, but they had some insults in there. So we might see Alexa and Nia for the Raw Women's title instead of Asuka and Bliss. They've been hammering towards a Bliss Asuka match. I've been saying that even though Asuka hasn't officially announced her champion yet, she hasn't verbally said he's going to challenge at Mania for being the Rumble winner, the first women's Rumble winner. They're assuming she's going to choose Alexa. They've been building towards it, even though we've already seen her wrestle once, which was good, but we've already seen it. Alexa and Nia would be more interesting because they have a friendship and they could break it up. So I'm hearing rumors they're going to have Asuka wait until after Fastlane to announce her champion. And I'll be surprised if it's in Detroit next week. So we'll see when Asuka officially challenges the champion. It could be her and Shawn and Alexa and Nia. With Alexa's little prep talk influencing Nia in the right and wrong way. Now on to our tag team match. Non-title involving tag team champions The Bar, who after defeating Titus Worldwide again, they said that, hey, we may have Mania off because there's no team left to beat. What about the Revival? Despite being handicapped since the Revival main roster with numerous injuries that has derailed their momentum, the Revival's trying to come back from an alleged burial back on Raw 25 in January, as they were in a big match tonight against the tag champs after exchanging bombs on Twitter about saying that there's no tag teams left. How about us? So Revival kind of playing the face here against the heel of the Bar. It's always weird when it's heel against heel. The crowd wasn't much. They didn't know who to cheer for because this is a heel versus heel match, but the tag match is pretty good. Both teams had some great double team moves well, and Revival had a big opportunity. Maybe towards the match, they had the champs caught, including a double move. Like I think it was one guy did a suplex off the top, and it was Dawson who would suplex Cesaro off the top, and Wilder would do a frog splash, and I thought that was it. I thought we were going to get a surprise win over the tag champs. But nope. Despite their best efforts, counter that with a shadow machine to be fed to both the brogue kick and the neutralizer, and the Bar would get the win. So, mathematically and technically, the Bar will no longer be on the Mania card because they have no other teams now because they beat the team they thought would go to Mania. Because if Revival would have won, they would get a title match. They lost tonight. So, will Revival still get that title match? Or will someone else come in? Like maybe Authors of Pain could come in. Or War Machine. War Machine from Ring of Honor is signed on to WWE, although they're technically someone on NXT. They have not debuted on NXT yet. They're not in the Dusty Tag Team Classic. They're having that, which could be for the NXT Tag Team titles And Bobby Fish is legitimately injured. Because he got hurt over the weekend doing a bunch of NXT house shows, including in Royal Oak. I was not at that show. I was at a TNA taping. It was an indie wrestling show, Boulder City Wrestling, that is in partnership with TNA, Impact Wrestling. And it was actually a pretty good show. Actually, was good. I got to meet a lot of guys. Got to meet Petey Williams, Austin Aries again, and a few others that wrestled that evening. And it was not that bad of a show. It will be a pay-per-view. March breakdown one night only. Cheap plug, get it. Watch the pay-per-view. I think it's March 16th on the Global Wrestling Network, and look at on your cable provider. It was a good show. It was legitimately a good show. So, we have to go back to watching TNA again. But, anywho, we'll see what happens here. Will War Machine debut? Will Authors of Pain debut to take on the ball? Or will Revival get the title match anyway? It was a good match. Good match for these two teams. Imagine what it could do at Mania if they were allowed to. See where this will all end up going. Now on to our next segment with a man who needs a World to Mania. He thinks that World to Mania will culminate at Fastlane as John Cena came out and he said last week he wanted to challenge The Undertaker, but he said it was impossible. So he decided to go to SmackDown to get an opportunity to insert himself into the main event of Fastlane, make it from a 5-way to a 6-pack challenge. He would have to beat the WWE Champion to do so, AJ Styles. It was a good match last Tuesday. As with the Nia Asuka rematch tonight, not on par with their previous showing, especially the Royal Rumble last year, but still a good showing. You put these two together, you're not going to get a disappointing match. Despite all the efforts from the champ, Cena got the victory, and he will be inserted into the 6-pack challenge, making the main event a 6-pack challenge. He was saying on the microphone about being a free agent, being a privilege, about fighting on both Raw and SmackDown, and being allowed by Kurt Angle to discuss SmackDown festivities on Raw about him winning the match against AJ and making the main event of Fastlane a fatal 6-pack challenge. And he wanted to do it on Raw so he would be interrupted by the other competitors if he did his speech on SmackDown. So that I'm going to make history at Fastlane. I'm going to be the 17th-time champion. More proof that The Undertaker is going to screw Cena over at Mania at Fastlane. And it'll be the perfect way to set up their alleged match. You know, even though Cena's teasing the Taker match, saying it won't happen. All of us in the know are thinking it will happen. Especially now Rey Mysterio got hurt again. There was a little bit of rumor about Rey Mysterio being Cena's opponent, but I heard he got hurt over the weekend. Maybe the guy can't stay healthy. He's like the Lucha Libre equivalent of the Revival. Can't stay healthy for long. Anywho, I mean, like I said, the perfect way for the Cena Taker match to culminate in Mania. Cena gets screwed over by Taker Fastlane with a gong or something. It's perfect way for Cena to say, Taker, you screwed me out of history. You screwed me out of making myself the 17th-time champion. Great motivation for Cena to challenge him at Mania if Taker screws him over at Fastlane, which is probably going to happen. But Cena does get interrupted by Goldust? Wow. We haven't seen Goldust in a few weeks on Raw. Trying to be the heel character. He had a little bit of a move with the Surgeons last year. The whole heel turn on R-Truth that went quickly in a protege storyline that never happened at the SummerSlam. So he's like, I'm going to steal your spotlight, Cena. I'm going to be on that big screen at Mania on the grandest stage of them all. And Cena did say if he's champion, he'll make the triple threat. He'll make the main event a triple threat with him and AJ and Shinsuke. We want AJ Shinsuke one-on-one. Screw a triple threat. We may have a triple threat at Mania if Strowman's added and Lesnar won't make. We don't need two of them. We only need one, and that needs to be AJ Shinsuke. Needs to be one-on-one. Cena doesn't belong in there. Anywho, Goldust says, I'm going to shatter your dreams. Bam! Lays out Cena. And would lead to Goldust and John Cena. Now, Michael Cole said he does his research, and he said this is the first time that Goldust and Cena have faced off against each other. Well, the last time he said he went through several hours of research, he said Jinder Mahal was entering his first Royal Rumble match. Well, his research was wrong. Jinder was in the Royal Rumble a couple times before, so when he said that again for this match, being the first time that Cena and Goldust was facing off, according to his research, I was like, don't trust Michael Cole. He might be wrong in his research again. I did my own research, and he might be right. Unless someone can prove me and Cole wrong. This is the first singles match with these two. They've been in tag matches together, teaming with each other, but never faced off. A good little match, a little short here. But not as short as last year's match against Kane in Chicago. Anyway. As Goldust gets some big moves on Cena, even getting a little advantage as referee turned his back for a second and got a little low blow on Cena. Cena would make the repertory comeback with the big moves of Doom, the 5-knuckle shuffle, and FU. Kind of a quick match. Hey, isn't it? On paper, it's kind of an interesting pairing. We've never seen these two face off. But it's kind of a short match because Cena needs some momentum heading towards Sunday, being in his six-pack challenge. Although, like I said, we know Taker's going to school him or something else will happen. So, see how it all ends up. Now, on to our next scenario with Bayley coming out to explain herself for walking out on Sasha Banks after not tagging her in during the match on Raw last week, stemming from the backstab from Sasha. They're not really saying who's heel yet. There's been reports about doing a swerve making Bayley the heel. Sasha needs to be the heel here. But as Bayley was fumbling through her words in an interview with Charlie in the ring, trying to explain herself, Paige and Absolution would interrupt, saying that his little friendship drama needs to go because tonight you have to be ready for Mandy Rose. And you have no more friends left. You may need some more protection. Because if you have no friends, you're done. Because Sasha's not your friend anymore or whatever. So we have a one-on-one match. Mandy Rose against Bayley. And it was a decent match. Mandy Rose was pretty good here. You know, she had the horn against Bayley. Got some good offense in, some good moves in. I've said this before, that Mandy Rose is the better-looking and more talented version of Eva Marie. As if Eva Marie could actually wrestle. Because Mandy's got the looks, but at least she's got more talent and a little figure than Eva Marie could ever do. Although there is something that Eva Marie had that Mandy Rose does not have yet. Legit heat with the fans. Mandy Rose ain't getting her ass booed up the building like Eva Marie did. When Eva Marie was around, that's the only good thing about her is that she would get legit heat. She was a heat magnet. You thought Roman Reigns got booed bad? Eva Marie got heat bad, man. Definitely, Mandy Rose needs to do something to make herself a heat magnet, just like Eva Marie was. So, anyway, after a great offensive fury from Mandy, even a good little move in the ropes, a little net breaker of the rope, that was kind of cool. And actually, a slingshot against the ropes, that was cool during the break. My cable box went off like a second, and I missed the ending, where apparently Bayley would roll up Mandy after a distraction from the Veil and would get the victory. Because my cable box went off like a second and showed Sasha Banks making the rescue after Absolution finds a beat up on Bayley after the match. But despite Sasha saving her alleged friend, Bayley was still not happy with Sasha for what happened last week and walked out of the ring before Sasha would take her hand out to hug Bayley. The friendship is officially over. Who's heel here? It's not really explained yet. So, but this match is happening at Mania. The plans have been seeded. You know, the plan's been seeded. It's growing. Seed's been planning for this match happening at Mania. So there you go. Now, I was talking about Eva Marie being a heat magnet. Speaking of a heat magnet, Andre the Elias. Yes, every day is Rusev Day, and WWE stands for Walk with Elias. So he would face off against Braun Strowman again this week after last week with Strowman and Elias having a match ending with a DQ after Elias used a fire extinguisher. We would have a Symphony of Destruction match, basically a musical street fight stemming from their musical encounter a few weeks ago, which was awesome in my mind segment of the year. Thus far. Because it was perfectly executed. And both the commentators, specifically Corey and Braun Strowman, did not miss the fact that this match was named after a Megadeth song. In the promo before the match, Braun said, "About your sympathy of destruction, about your sweating bullets about it, and we're going to be counting down to your extinction." And Corey will mention more Megadeth stuff in the commentary here. And this match was just an all-out brawl. It would begin with Elias coming out. He was on the piano. There's like a bunch of instruments on the Titantron where he was playing the piano. He even played the drums. He actually played the drums pretty well there. He is no one-trick pony. He is a kind of a true musician, kind of. But sang a song about Milwaukee, making fun of the Bucks and Brewers. I hope the guy in Detroit next week, he makes fun of Lions. And they deserve it. They deserve it. Hey, Browns get made fun of all the time. Lions deserve to make fun of too, because they suck a lot. I hope he makes fun of MSU too for blowing the Big Ten championship again. Go Blue. Anyway, Lions would come to the ring and want a proper introduction from JoJo. So Elias would go out and should say, "Ladies and gentlemen, Elias," but the stool was in the ring, but he wasn't there. Elias trying to escape again, like he did last week. So he went to his car and tried to get out of it, but he found out, I thought Braun was going to be in the back seat. Well, he was not just in the back seat. He was in the back behind the car, lifting the car up on his side. That was interesting. And then Lions would be chased down by Braun, running as fast as he can, like he did that one time he chased the Miz down, leading back to the ring, and the match would immediately start, because Kurt Angle, knowing what Elias tried to do last week to escape, make the match a false count anywhere match. It was already a no DQ match and a no count out match, with this being a weapons match. And now he added the false count anywhere step. So Braun to make a little bit with some not technical wrestling. With Braun trying to do a power slam early. Make the match quick and easy. I was like, wait a minute, we haven't used the instruments yet and weapons. But then Elias would chop the knee of Braun, get him down. He would do an elbow off the top. That was his old finisher. When he first debuted as the Drifter in NXT that failed, he had an elbow finisher. I was like, really? That's your finisher? A lot of people use elbows as finishers. But the good elbows, like Evolution Dreams got the elbow finisher. And of course, in my mind, one of the best elbows in the business today, Kyrie Sane and our insane elbow. But Elias' elbow's not bad, but it was kind of weak for a finisher. Of course, he got rid of it, thankfully, and made Drift away. His neckbreaker finisher. So, but it was still a decent elbow from Elias, but then Braun would immediately get up from the pinfall and just won, barely won, before dragging Elias back to the Titantron area and almost slammed him through the announce table. And the commentators have seen what Braun's done with the announce table. Just look at Kane. We haven't seen him in weeks. Although Kane's supposed to be in Detroit next week for a dark match. Anyway, after Elias would sneak out from being put through the table, by the way, weapons would be used, including a guitar. Braun would get nailed with a guitar from Elias. But then Braun, I thought he was going to nail Elias to the drum head. The bass drum. Where it was spreading through all the instruments. There was a bunch of guitars on stage. Pushed him on top of that. Sent him to the LED board. And then, like he did a few weeks ago, Stormer was strumming the bass and whacked it across the back of Elias. But then I was like, looking at that grand piano. I was like, something's going to happen to that piano. I thought Braun and Stormer was going to power slam Elias through it. But instead, he pushed the piano off balance and smashed the piano on top of Elias. He crushed his ribs with the bass before, but what did he crush now? With the piano smushing. And the 1-2-3 victory. Fun fight. We have these like gimmicky matches all the time. The trick or street fight. And these little themed fight matches. And this is a good one. Very comical. But it was still it was a fight. Not much of a wrestling match. It was a brawl with weapons. It was pretty well executed. As Elias was stretched out the arena. Oh, but the storyline injury, I want him in Detroit next week. Before we go any further with Raw, I want to talk about the WWE Hall of Fame. About their latest inductee. I did not mention last week about their Warrior winner. a cancer kid, some kid named JJ, is going to get the Warrior Award. But now they announced the next inductee, a guy that wasn't even rumored to go in. Hillbilly Jim. There was rumor about Bam Bam Bigelow going in. Maybe they'll still get him in. But we got Hillbilly Jim coming in. Very questionable. But if you have guys like Coco Beware and the Bushwhackers who never won a championship in their career, what the hell? Let's get Hillbilly Jim in. Like, he's a good character. You know, and the only significant thing he did was manage the Godwins in the 90s. So, it's weird he's going in. You know, very questionable, but hey, there you go. I met him a couple of times. You know, they had these, like, World to WrestleMania events at malls. They had, like, a little, like, mini access event at the malls and also at Cobo Arena. Right before Science Main Event in 06, met Hillbilly Trice. Nice dude. You know, he's cool. You know, so congrats to him, though, for getting in the Hall of Fame. There's also been rumors about Kid Rock going in as the obligatory celebrity inductee. Now, Raw's in Detroit next week, Kid Rock's hometown. So it makes sense that they're saving the Kid Rock announcement for the Raw in Detroit next week in the same arena, Little Caesars Arena, that Kid Rock opened with. You know, he was the first shows there. So, and I was at show number 2. He did 6 shows at the LCA, and I was at show 2. So there you go. Now on with a match involving Bray Wyatt and Rhino. Stemming from last week when Bray Wyatt beat up both Rhino and Ink Slayer before Puppet Match gets started. Not much to talk about here. Bray's match against Rhino was as long as Brock Lesnar's match against Kane this past Saturday in Chicago. About 20 seconds here. Little bit offense from Rhino. Big kick from Bray. Did a little spider thing. Sister Abby, 1, 2, 3. Wyatt wins. Let's get us a little anger from this feud with Matt Hardy. This is a feud that never ends. Only musical thing I'm doing tonight. Anywho, this feud had potential to be good. But they haven't used much of the broken element yet, the broken universe yet. And it, you know, built on sneak attacks and laps. But now, finally, might be too little too late, but finally, or as I would say, final motherfuckingly, we finally got some broken elements. Matt was teasing on Twitter the ultimate deletion. The final deletion. Bray kind of jumped the gun, saying that, come on Matt Hardy, show your face. This final deletion, the Great War, he kind of spoiled it. But we saw him back on the screen, and he did hint about the final deletion. And he wants it to take place at the Hardy compound. Yay! Broken universe stuff! And they used footage from TNA. Because I did say this, that there was reports about TNA giving the rights to the Hardy footage to WWE, and that was the footage that was apparently used tonight. And we are going to get this final deletion at the Hardy compound. Finally, we're going to get a broken universe. Finally, we may finally get the elements of the broken gimmick. Finally, in WWE, hitting the Hardy compound. If they don't muck this up, like they had done for the rest of this feud thus far, they've messed this feud up thus far, they can redeem this feud by doing this final deletion right and not be as stupid as the House of Horror match last year with Bray and Orton. Please don't mess this up. Big opportunity now to redeem this feud, to finally use broken elements, finally, and finally get the broken universe in there. Finally get Senior Benjamin, Vanguard 1, and Weeby, who tweeted out her excitement on social media about WWE using her footage in the Hardy compound. So, there you go. On with our next segment, the Mizzies. We had the Oscars last night. Very political. This wasn't. Yay! Anyway, Miz dissed the Oscars, presented as Mizzies. Now, Miz tries to not get Mizzies this time, but give up Mizzies to the superstar who is best at patting himself in the back and his little constructed clipped footage, selective editing of these videos. About Seth Rollins bragging about being in a match for an hour and a half and losing it. And Finn Balor for being the first champion and losing it and never getting a rematch. So, he needs a rematch though. Of course, with both Finn and Seth now only being nominated for Mizzy and tying for that award, hinting towards the possible triple threat match that's been planned for last week, with them both beating Miz in back-to-back one-on-one matches. So then he would present the worst decision by a GM award. Kurt Angle won because he was the only one nominated, but didn't decide on what decision won. And for that first award, the tie between Balor and Rollins, they were not accepting it because they weren't invited. But they did crash the party. Rollins came out first, and then Balor would come in, just like he did last week. After Rollins won, here comes Balor. Seth came out tonight, here comes Balor. This is like the second week in a row you've done this. Balor, trying to steal my thunder or something? But he's like, hey, Angle did not make one of us the challenger last week for the IC title at Mania, even though we both beat Miz in one-on-one matches. But tonight, how about us two get along, sort of, and take on the Miz to watch in a handicap match. So that'll be our main event match. We got a main event segment with Paul Heyman coming up. So we have these 5 guys facing off in a handicap match. Good little handicap match to end Raw properly before the main event segment. End Raw's action tonight. Miz will take over early, trying to isolate Balor in the corner. For Rollins would come in, some big moves, a sling blade, all that great stuff. But then both guys want the IC title, Balor and Rollins, and have a little game of anything you can do, I can do better, kind of a game of one-offsmanship, as there will be some blind tagging. Both guys were trying to fly. Balor tagged himself in and took out the Miz with a dive over the top rope on the floor, trying to go for his big moves. He did go for the sling blade of his own, and he was about to come off the top, setting up the coup de grace. I think it was on Bo Dallas. But it was one to miss to watch, I'll say that much. But before Balor would do the coup de grace, turnaround's fair play, as Seth Rollins would blind tag himself in, gain some comeback from Balor blind tagging himself in earlier, delivered the stomp in the 1-2-3 victory for Seth Rollins. His team won, but there's some tension there between Balor and Seth over the blind tagging. So then Kurt Angle would come out saying that, Miz, I am finally going to name your opponent for Mania. It will be not against Finn Balor, and it will not be against Seth Rollins. It will be against both in a triple threat match. Will it be a ladder match? But still. Are they going to add Strowman and Elias to it? And not add them to the Under the Giant Battle War? That's probably where they're going to go, sadly. Because they have nothing planned yet for them. They're over as hell in opposite directions. Elias is good at getting booed, and Braun's good at getting cheered. So we'll see how this all ends up for those two. Are they going to be inserted in this match? Will Braun be inserted in the Roman Lesnar match, as I predicted last week on my Chamber review? I made some bold predictions before, and I've been right on some of them, including Rollins cashing in at Mania that one year. I called it since Rumble 2015. So there you go. But this should be a great match. They had a triple threat match last year for a number of contendership for the IC title. It was pretty good. If they had that same kind of match last year at Mania, this triple threat could be good. And a ladder match would make it more awesome. So then we got Paul Heyman coming out to address the Woman promo from last week. Now, he did not address the fact that Lesnar didn't show up because apparently he has already used up his allotted on his contract appearances on television. So there's a little bit of rumors about it being a work, about being legit that Lesnar walked out. A lot of reports. I told you this last week. The dirt sheets will be all over this. And I was right. So many reports about what truly happened last week that made Roman go up in that promo. Real promo, worked the promo just to make the fans cheer him for Mania. Give him sympathy for saying that, oh, I agree with you. We want a full-time champion again. Not you, woman. Not you. Anyway, he had the belt with him. Talking about how he was sent by Brock Lesnar to address this. And who knows, maybe have the UFC title in his hands one day. Of course, hinting towards Lesnar re-signing with UFC, especially with that picture from Dana White that was trending last week and that woman mentioned on the promo. And he addressed that Wayne's had the biggest win of his career at last year's Mania, beating The Undertaker. And if they said that Roman just beat Taker because it was the one match Taker wrestles a year, that's complete bullshit and it was bleeped. And I loved the wordplay that Heyman did about saying about Lesnar beating up Reigns at Mania. That Alpha WrestleMania, you're gonna have the Sika new title to challenge. Love the wordplay mentioning the Wild Samoans. Of course, Roman's dad is Alpha. And his uncle Sika. That was great wordplay. Because the build, he focused on the Samoan heritage of Roman last time when they had the Lesnar Roman feud at WrestleMania 31. He mentioned Roman's family. Once again, he mentioned them again by using clever wordplay. Alpha WrestleMania. You're going to have the Sika new title after losing to Lesnar at Mania. So I love that. Boom! This is right. Heyman's awesome. The only good thing about Lesnar is Heyman. And if Lesnar does leave, will Heyman go with him? Or will Heyman be managing somebody else? He manages anybody else but Lesnar. Has been mixed results. Mixed results. Just ask Curtis Axel and ask Cesaro. In somewhat CM Punk. And Ryback. Anywho, Heyman said, you called Lesnar a bitch last week, woman? This is Lesnar's bitch, the Universal title, and you're not taking it. And this title proves you're number one. He went through the promo, another great promo from Heyman. He's always going on the mic, as I mentioned numerous times. But then next week, Lesnar will not do a no-show again. He will be in Detroit to face you one-on-one in a verbal stare-down or whatever. And he's ready for you, Roman. Say it to his face next week. So here comes Roman. Getting mixed reaction as usual. So then Ridge will be handed the mic by Heyman, saying that, hey, I thought the champ would come himself to send a rebuttal, but unfortunately he sent his advocate to do so. That proves that Lesnar is indeed a bitch. But come next week, I'll be ready for him. And tell your boy not to get dressed up for some promo segment. Get dressed up for a fight in Detroit. So, there you go. That's how we end War. With Heyman walking out with Lesnar's belt, preparing for the stare down next week in Detroit. And I've been saying it a little bit. I am going to War next week. It is my 4th War. And every War I've been to, something big's happened. First War I went to, Jeff Hardy returned from suspension. The War I went to in 2012, Lesnar was there and Edge returned for the appearance. And of course, the last War I went to 2 years ago, Shane McMahon would return. Some bigs happen every time I went to a War live. Will this happen again? Because Lesnar and Roman are going to face off. Plus, Rousey's going to be there. And maybe after Cena gets schooled by Taker, apparently at Mania, well, not at Mania, but for the chance to be the champ at Mania, Cena will be addressing the screw job at War and challenge Taker formally and have it finally happen. So, cannot wait for War next week. There will be a live report on that. And I will not be making anything about Fastlane probably because I'm not going to be able to watch Fastlane live on Sunday. I'm going to be at an indie wrestling show for XICW next week. So, there might be no Fastlane video, but there definitely will be a War review, a War live report from me about my experience of being a War live for the 4th time. And the first at the LCA, Little Caesars Arena. I'll be on lower level. I'll be like on the reserve seating, kind of like next to the Titantron. So I can't wait for that. So that is it for my War review. Thank you so much for watching. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the review from Zach. See you later. Bye-bye.